Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Boy That Loved, a Boys Love podcast hosted by me, Dion. Today, we're going to review the series Last Twilight. For those who don't know, on my Patreon, I've been reacting to Last Twilight, and I just finished the last episode. So it's a perfect time to bring my everything wrong with videos back. I used to do these all the time when a show ends, and I kind of missed it. So I was like, let me bring it back. So basically, how this works is there's a YouTuber called Amanda BB. I got this idea from her where you talk about a show by going through each character. It's basically a character analysis, kind of a run through kind of thing. So I'm going through all the characters, get my thoughts and opinions on them, and then get my thoughts of the overall story at the end. And yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first character we're going to talk about is G. She is Dave's friend from back in the day. She's also on that badminton team or whatever. Um, I like her. When I first met her, I was like, "Oh, girl, you're doing a lot," because she was like loud. Dang, she was loud. She was confused. Now, in the narrative, Day just went MIA on all his friends, and they were told that he went away overseas. So she was kind of like shook seeing him, kind of frustrated that he was gone. Um, but then she found out what's going on with him, and then she was very, very best girl, very on his side, help him out when he needed it. Um, I like her. Now there's I'll get more into it at the end, but this show has a lot of what I consider filler, and there was a whole like scene and situation with her playing the game, and I don't know if it was the most interesting thing to like um to see in the show, but I like her, so like I was like, okay, it's fine. Like it got a chance to have Monk be inside and see the tea with this sport and everything. You know what I mean? So like she was that gateway to that, but then she's also her character allowed him to go back into his old life. Dave was reunited with his past partner, with his old teammates and friends, and she was that gateway. Now I don't think, yeah, we didn't see her in the end, which was kind of odd. I kind of wish she would have came back in some capacity. Maybe she did. I just missed it, but it would have been nice if she came back and kiki with everybody. You know what I mean? Next we have is August. I really like this character. I know, when he first appeared and like the things that happened, and I think 3 episodes he was in, maybe four. Everyone was trying to drag him. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if I was. I kind of avoided seeing what people felt about that episode because I already know the response. But how I felt was I liked his character. I liked the dynamic he had with Dave. Was so precious. I almost like teared up when they reunited in the locker room and they were talking about things and the whole headband thing, the flashback of their whole dynamic. I'm like, oh my heart. And I was so excited for Day to like go on this date with this person that he really had a crush on, and it was so nice, and like it was so like heartbreaking where he didn't show up, but then he came back to make it up to him. They went on that day hanging out, and then they started running together, and it was the birthday plans, and it was just so great. And like he wasn't necessarily antagonistic to Monk, which I kind of like. He wasn't like buddy buddy, but he also wasn't like popping off. He was kind of slightly passive aggressive, if anything. But he was kind of cool with him, so which I liked. I felt like in the narrative, you may feel like he was a jerk for like doing the whole birthday thing and leading Day on, and I just felt like it was just a misguided attempt to be nice, and that was the case because when they found out he's leaving to go overseas to do the sport, he said such nice things about Day during his big old speech, and like I was like, I know he seems like such a nice guy, and just a little misguided with what he did with the whole birthday thing. He really tried to like give him what he wants, be nice to him. And I honestly I didn't feel bad for Day. I was like, Day, you didn't kiss two boys you liked on your birthday, bestie. I know that's right. And he was fine the next day. Yeah, yeah, he was disappointed that his feelings for August weren't reciprocated for real, but he was chilling. I'm like, Dad, you better go off. So August, you were real for that. Um, I kind of wish they brought him back too. I like his character. Their dynamic was nice, and like it was just so precious. I liked him. Next, we have his day and night's mother. um, I liked her. She she was a very loving mother, even though she had to be distant because she for her job she had to like go away, but she was still like there for her sons, and it did. I'm not sure I comprehend fully her dynamic with Knight. It just seems like like there's a favoritism thing going on. Am I getting that wrong? You guys let me know below. Am I getting that part wrong? Because I feel like I'm getting that wrong. I know the narratives. Miss Knight felt isolated from the family, or maybe Day did. I don't know. It was kind of hard to read exactly what the whole dynamic was, especially when they got because the family's all good now. They be kikiing. They're really great. Her two boys like it's all good now. I just don't remember. I don't remember like every detail of how it was before and why it was before. I think she's a great mom. Now she was a bit crunchy when she was trying to make him not do the things he wanted to do. And I know she had concern. Like that's why I'm not like she's not a bad mom. A lot of people try to drag her for like being so protective or not allowing Day to do certain things. And I get that. And I don't disagree with you fully, but I don't know if it's she's an awful person because of that. She just loves her son and wants to make sure he's okay and like, and she can't be around to make sure he's okay. And like you don't it's once you have kids and like they are sick or something's going on with them, it's hard to like let go or not. You just get very protective. And I just understand her point of view. I mean, I don't have any kids, but like I can see why she would be so her child and like, now she was kind of wild and when she tried to like when she was popping off every 5 minutes when he was going off and doing things. Cause I'm like, Mama, you right. He out here wilding in these streets and doing the most, but he is also grown and he has a caretaker and he is fine. Like he is fine. Every time he come back, he's fine. You know what I mean? And I do like that she was more willing to like, okay, let me pump the brakes, let me pull back some. Like I'm doing a worry work thing, but let me just um she was so cool. I kind of wish I'll get more to this when I get to Monk, but I kind of wish her narrative was entwined with Monk, with like her like cooking, and it kind of is at the end. But I wish she was like she took him on as a mentor. Maybe we got to know him, his past through her. Like maybe he bonded with her a little bit, and maybe has some parallels between their dynamic. I don't know. It would be really nice to see Monk bond with other people, and I think that mom made a perfect choice since he starts doing cooking, and she could have brought him under her wing because Day only eats her food. So it kind of, I guess that was the case. I wish it was a heavier narrative. You know what I mean? We got to know her a bit more because of it. Like it would have been great to flesh out the character. She would have been a great character to flesh out more. She wasn't exactly one note, but there was not much going on as far as her own narrative or what she could do for other people. Really, um, I'm not saying it was like needed. Like we don't need a whole backstory and the whole like let's follow the mom thing. But it would have really been great to have a little something here, a little something there. You know what I mean? Next we have is Porja. Is that her name? She is Monk's best friend slash ex girlfriend, and she is also best girl. I love her down because she a real one. She a real MVP of the show. She really came through for the boys, and it does suck that she had her like her own little story beat. They were kind of crunchy how they presented it though. Like she randomly we see her with his boyfriend, and the episode we see him in, we also see him cheating on her. So it's kind of like, damn. I kind of wish she was present more in her own thing a little bit more. Maybe saw him the boyfriend earlier on with her, their dynamic being kind of like sweet and loving. So it kind of hurts even more so when we found out that he was cheating. Because it does suck, but like we didn't get to see their dynamic really, so it was hard to even connect with that because it wasn't shown that much. But I like how she still had her own thing going on with that. Like it got to focus. But it kind of fell off because she was living with Monk, and but like we don't know what her situation is, like her job or what's going on with her. And then Monk tells Day that she's moving out to live with her mom because like everything was happening off screen, behind the scenes, nothing really, and she just became a bouncing board for Monk. a confidant, which is nothing wrong with that. I just think there was opportunity also to have her have a narrative that kept going. Her, being a single mom, being pregnant, like we can see her going through that. Here and there's a boop, boop, boop. Like I wish we had like sprinkled throughout because that would have been. I I'll get more to it at the end, but I feel like this show spent way too much time with Monk and Day and being in their face and just having them just do mundane things and kind of kikiing a little bit, which is precious. But it would have been a better show, in my opinion, if we caught her storyline fleshed out, her dating night fleshed out. It just happened behind the scenes, and now we jump to them picking out wedding dresses and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. It would have been great to kind of, and I know the relationship was kind of hinted at, but it was just hinted at, and maybe heavily hinted, I should say, because he was really kicking it to her. Um, but regardless, she is queenie behavior, and I love that for her, and I love that like she's part of the family now, and they're all kikiing and good together, and like it just seems so precious. And she's just best girl. Next we have is Knight. I like this character a lot. He's another one underdeveloped, underutilized. He was gone most of the show, but he was also there. And his dynamic with Day wasn't really explained beyond like the first episode. We kind of saw a hint of it, then we didn't touch back on until like episode 8 or 9, maybe. And even then, it wasn't really touched on, which sucks. Like this show has a problem with not using their characters to their fullest potential. Um, but regardless, I like the narrative story beats of this character. Like I like what they did with him. I just wish they would have utilized him a bit better. The execution was a bit better, more frequently would have been nice. Same with her. I wish they kind of had him do more, have more to do, have more things going on. Everything's behind the scenes, but his whole relationship with his brother and his mom, and them getting over their issues was so precious. And he stepped up to become like a stepfather to her daughter, and now they have their own baby, and they had a wedding, and they took his brother to the airport to find Monk. Like he's best boy. Best girl, best boy together. I ship them so hard. I like their dynamic. It's just great. And his dynamic with his brother is so precious too. It, it just made my heart smile, guys. It really did. And this character is so great. It is such a great character. Next we have is Day. Now Day early on got on my nerves, big old brat. Like I felt like it was obvious what was happening. He had his whole world changed with this accident, with going blind. So he is mad at the world for what was taken from him. He has this new normal he has to adjust to now. So it felt like obviously he's gonna have a journey. Going from being that jerky character who was rude and mean to everyone to being nicer. And he was. And it happened kind of quickly though. Like jerky Day lasted maybe 2 episodes. Maybe. And then after that he was getting better and better and just kind of more, even when he was frustrated and scared, he wouldn't go back to being a jerk. He just kind of like let his emotions run, and then he kind of calmed down, which I kind of liked. I liked how they did that with his character. They didn't make him revert back to being a jerk whenever he was faced with issues, being out and about, being lost, being scared. He didn't go back to being hateful again like he was in the beginning, and I love that. Now I will say, I know he's the main character, guys. I know, but I just feel like too much of the narratives revolved him. I know he's the main character. Like I know, but there's two main leads, guys, and we focus way too goddamn much on Day. Like it was his story mostly. That's it. I mean, his brother, his mom, his dad, his friends, his everything that happened to him is all about him. Even Monk's narrative focused around him. You know what I mean? And I don't hate that fully. I just wished it would have been a more even split between the two. I wish his brother and old girl got more stuff. Even the mom got a bit more stuff because those characters are really good, and I just feel like it would have been a better show if it, especially on a rewatch. I don't think I can rewatch the show again because it just was too boring. But I'll get more into that at the end. But it, but his character I really like, and I just every time, like when they became boyfriends, and he was just so giddy and kikiing with his man, big old smile. I loved it. I love how he said stand up for himself. I love that he, really took in his reality and kind of did all the things. Like I just adjusting to like, I don't know. I was rooting for him. It was great to see him grow and evolve, and I'm so glad he was able to make amends with his brother and I guess see his father again and just have a boyfriend and kiki and cuddle and last Twilight going to see the thing and like it just made my heart smile. See ate this roll up playing this blind character. I believed it. See was acting down from the sad scenes to the happy scenes to the dramatic scenes. I believed all of it. What a great character. What a great, it was heavy focus on the character and but it still was so good. This character is so great. I really flawed but likable. You know what I mean? And I just love that. I just love that. Last but not least is Monk, our unsung hero. I never liked a character in one of these shows so much until I met this person, like this character, because like I said met like I know him. Oh my gosh, but I feel like I do. Such a nice guy through and through to the end. I know Knight was best boy, but Monk is bestest boy. Yo, I love this character so much, y'all. I really, really do. It does bum me out that he did not get a real storyline of his own. Yes, it felt like it was in the beginning a little more of a even split between the two, or like episode 1 or 2, but then it kind of just went. It was a day show after that, and he was just the major supporting character in that. Um, because like he had the whole thing with his sister in the car, but that didn't really go anywhere. Really, it wasn't really much going on with that. And then him fall in love with Dave and being the caretaker, then a friend, and then love interest. It really was precious and nice to see him be along for that ride. Um, I just thought we would got more fleshed out narrative with him, with his whole past. Like he was a gangbanging and stuff, and like getting into fights, and we didn't touch on that. No character from his past was brought back in the mix. We didn't understand what he was doing before that, and we got glimpses here and there. I'm not saying it was totally like no backstory, no nothing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we there was a missed opportunity to really flesh his character out. I'm not saying we need to see him also do like a growing overarching narrative like type of thing because it seemed like he already completed his not completed his transformation. What am I trying to say? It is we didn't get to know much of his past to see the change he made in his future. I mean, we kind of we can it's implied that he was maybe mean or rough around the edges back in the day. Now he's not, but it said it wasn't a focus. It seemed like he's been nice the whole time. You know what I mean? And there was no type of arc for him. You know what I mean? Like there's no like, but we did see him try to get his life together, paid off the car. He got the car back, which is good, and he started doing the cooking, became a chef. I do like that I gave him that thing to do. I just kind of wish it would happen earlier. Maybe he had a reason to wanna. If they would switch the narrative a little bit, him becoming the caretaker for Day to have a job, obviously, but also to learn from the mom. He wanted to like learn from the mom, but also fall in love with his son, being the caretaker. He learned different things, um, and it could be like one of those things where he feels. I guess it was in the show where he felt guilty for not being there for his sister, and he wants to make up for that by being there for people and being present and being helpful to someone in need who needs help. Like I guess that was his narrative in a way. But I don't think it was that obvious. I don't think it was like on the forefront with him. You know, you can't see. Like, after he got fired or he left the job, they still remain boyfriends, which I do love. I love how they were boyfriends and they just remain boyfriends for the most of the part. I was like, oh, I love this. Yes, but I kind of wish he had a focus, like things he wanted to do. And yeah, he did the cooking. I just kind of wish it was heavy handed early on. Like, yes, I want to cook. Mom, what are the recipes? I'm trying this out. Dave, what does this taste like? Is it good? Ooh, I want a restaurant. I want to do this. Like, so when he got fired or he transitioned out of being Dave's caretaker to being a cook, it would have made more sense. It seemed somewhat abrupt, but who cares? I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he had his whole thing. But him not taking that job because of Dave, I see why Dave was mad. And I was kind of mad too. Because, like, not because he did that for Day, it's more because the narrative is still focused on Day. Like, what he's got going on is focused on that boy. And I'm like, I don't want that for him. And the fact that Day was so supportive of him getting this new job and really, like, doing what he wanted for him was a very telling on Dave's character. Like, he is real for that. Like, he's so real for that. I just wish the narrative didn't have him make the decision based on that, based on Day. However, I do like the reason though. And it wasn't about Day, it was about his sister and what happened with his sister, him wanting not be there for someone. That's the part where it really got me. And I feel like I'm upset that Day took it as him pitying him or just doing things for him, and that's how the narrative kind of looked. But if you really listen to him, he's like, what happened to my sister was so depth. Like, that is another part of his character. He's so not paranoid, but haunted by him not being able to go pick up the phone for his sister and what happened to her, and he feels guilty and doesn't want to happen again. I think that wasn't touched on too much. And that being his reasoning for not wanting to leave Day, he shouldn't have lied, obviously, but I wish he would have said, I'm not going, and this is my reason. And Day could have, I don't think Day would have been mad at that, but he would have kind of like, maybe pushed him to still do it anyways. See, that would have been great. If he would have not lied, been like, hey, listen, I'm not taking pity on you. I'm not trying to be too worrisome or whatever. I'm hurt because of this, and I'm scared because I love you, and I don't want to do this because of this, and this. And he does tell him that in a way, but the show moved on too fast from that. It wasn't really a focus. Like, I really wish they kind of like, and maybe if they did focus on it, the breakup wouldn't have happened. So maybe they needed to do it how they did it. But I'm like, it just made Day seem very unreasonable, because like if I would have heard that, I'd have been like, yeah, you lied to me and that was crunchy, but also, damn, this is wild. Thank you so much for even, because early on there was a scene where he busts into the room because he thought something happened today. Like, Day was so depressed they took his own, like he really thought that was happening. So like, this is just a callback to that, and I wish they kind of really wrapped it up around, full circle moment. But with all that being said, I'm glad they reunited. I'm glad they are booed up. I'm glad they are just very lovey dovey. It's very rare to see the boys love series where the characters are boyfriends for a long period of time. Them being affectionate, hugs and kisses on the regular. Are you kidding me? They'll never do that. Even the characters are booed up. They never be like, that's their man. I'm kind of shook by that. Okay. So overall, let's see how I feel about the show. I like the characters, their dynamics. The actors really did a good job. What else? I like the setting. The cinematography is really good. A lot of the story beats really had my heart smiling, had me sad. It was a lot. It was a lot. Now, as far as the negative stuff, like I said, this show is so goddamn boring, so goddamn often. We spent so much time watching mundane tasks, watching them run errands, watching them just hang out with each other so much for long periods of time. I was like, damn. And I didn't mind it too much. It was kind of like I'm bored with this, but like it was okay because I like the characters. That's the thing. I like the characters. So I'm like, okay, well, watching them clean the room up is not the worst thing ever. Watching them cook food is not the worst thing ever. Watching them do like a mock date isn't the worst thing ever, but it's not great either. If you would have taken that time to develop other characters or flesh out the ones we have, if we want to focus on, it would have been a better experience for me personally. I still get the feels, I still get the emotions, I still get what they were doing. I just felt bored most of the time. I'm like, the constant flirting, the constant, you know, it's not my fave. And I think this is a staple for this director. I believe he did Bad Buddy and Tales of a Thousand Stars. Those shows also have that where they just spend so many long scenes, and some of the scenes are important for the characters' relationship. So I see the focus on that, but sometimes it happens so frequently, and the scenes are like 10, 15 minutes long. So if you have it happen two times per episode, and they're like 10, 15 minutes or 30 minutes of the runtime is them kind of just boot up and like flirting or being like coy, or we're watching a montage. It happening so often without actually focusing on important story beats, character growth, or whatever. It kind of, for me, just brings down the experience. I'm like, no matter how funny the scene might be, no matter how precious the scene might be, I'm just bored. Like, ugh. But I will say, I'd rather be bored with characters I like. Because some shows do that same thing. I don't even like the characters. I'm like, oh, I don't like y'all, and y'all spending time doing this bullcrap that amounts to nothing. At least last Twilight, I'm like really into these characters. So I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? So it's fine. Um, I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I gave it a chance. It really made my heart smile. And I like these actors more now. I was not really feeling vice versa at all. And it was no shade on the actors part on that, but I really wasn't checking for these actors then. But now I'm checking for the actors. I really am. They really did a good job. They really did a good job. I'm assuming they're gonna do another show together. I kind of wish they wouldn't. I wish these two actors got paired up with someone else. That would be really great. That's just in my little fantasy. I'm not attached to the actors being shipped together. The characters, yeah. Ship the characters all day. The actors, I'm not too invested in that. Like, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's switch it up a little bit. Especially since we got to see someone like that in Moonlight Chicken and obviously in Only Friends. So we can mention match and do all the things. It's okay. But yeah, let me know your thoughts below on this. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't seen my reactions, they're on my Patreon, linked below, as well as other dramas I've been watching. And yeah, I will see y'all in the next video.